Would you want me to read it?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the one from the Stoic. What's the name of the book?
Which one? The one that I gave you? Or that I told you about? It's called the Daily Stoic. And the Daily Stoic was written by, or compiled actually by, Ryan Holiday and Stephen Hanselman.
Okay. And then this is
but of course,
one
they didn't write the quotes.
Wait, they didn't write. When was it written?
Well, a lot of these quotes were written 2,000 years ago, 500 years before Christ. Some of them, they're pretty old stuff.
That's what I like about it.
Yeah. The Stoics, and I don't remember exactly who quoted the ones that you have. I can't remember. It could be Seneca. It could be Marcus Aurelius. It could be the other guys in this book are.
It's
Epictetus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course.
Yeah, that's the one who did this one.
Epictetus. I can't.
Epictetus. Yeah.
Epictetus. Yeah. Yeah, just knowing what I've learned from Ryan Holiday and those guys, that guy was a mentor of Marcus Aurelius. Marcus Aurelius, if you don't know, was the last emperor, if I'm not mistaken, of Rome.
Oh, wow.
And if you don't know the history, they went from they converted through different styles of government, and Marcus Aurelius actually was one of the last emperors. They called him the philosopher king. This is Marcus Aurelius still. He's in the movie Gladiator, but he's kind of falsely depicted in that one, but he is in that movie. He's the have you seen that movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't picture which one he is, though.
He's the king. He's the white-haired king that's trying to teach his son to be the king. But Epictetus was a mentor of him.
Oh, okay.
Just to kind of give you some kind of context where that's coming from something old.
Right. That's so. I love it because this particular one is good. Just because, it's some of my beliefs at this point in my life. It really goes with, So do you want me to read it and then?
Yeah, read it out and let's see what happens with it.
Okay, so this is control and choice. The chief task at hand is simply this: to identify and separate matters so that I can say clearly to myself which are externals not under my control and which have to do with the choices I actually control. Where then do I look for good and evil? Not uncontrollable externals, but within myself, to the choices that are my own. I can't say his name.
You got to end with it. We'll have to practice that one, but I'm going to say
we will, yes.
Yeah, that's okay. We're good. I'm sure everybody struggles with it. Epictetus.
Epictetus.
You got to end. Yeah, you got to end with a pow.
Yeah.
That was good.
So,
what do you think?
Yeah, it most definitely, makes me think of, I feel this way, but I have a hard time telling people that I think that, God and the devil, are just definitely inside of us, Their energy, therefore we're projecting out the good and the evil. And sometimes I think people get to blame, this fake God or fake devil about, the choices that they have made in return to, the energy that comes back to them, How do you feel about it?
I feel the same way. No, I'm just kidding. Just a second. I was going back here because is there a date on that? So I was going to look at I know I sent it to you in a text. Oh, there it is. Okay. Wow, January 1st. Okay. Okay. Yeah, this one. Yeah, okay. So it seems like you're seeing it from the outside world, the control of the good and the evil, controlling each other, sort of, or controlling the person, and them using that as an excuse. Did I understand that right from you?
Well, I just mean like the energy that we have inside of us can be portrayed as good, or we can project it as good or evil, and
okay.
Like how he says, I look for. So he says, where then do I look for good and evil? And he's saying, to me, he's saying that he's telling us to, look inside, because that's where good and evil is. It's not this, this God and this devil that's out here doing one or the other. Mm-hmm. We are the ones actually projecting that out, But I feel like sometimes when somebody does something bad to somebody, they try to find the excuse as, oh, the devil made me do it. Like this fictitious man that entered his body and made them do it, when it was just their shadow side, the evil side.
Yeah, like they're like we're both, like even Freud said, we have both sides. That shadow side is what reminded me of that. We have both sides in us that will they'll show from time to time, and
right.
You kind of pick which one you allow to manifest more often, even.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good one too. I like that. That's
because he says to identify and separate matters. Like I don't know, like to me, like I have control over who I'm dating, but I don't have like control over, how they treat me to a point. You know what I mean? Like, 'cause it's all kind of like, Or another like example, like for me, is the way that I look at this is, being with Noah, like I had all the control in the world within me to stay with him or not. I almost feel like my internal forces created what happened. Not that I wanted it to happen the way that it did, but since, I was often in a negative space around him because of his negative space, I created this storm, and I don't think it was some imaginary devil, or some imaginary external force that did it. It was an internal force that did it, I think that's
interesting. Yeah. There you go.
Like I projected that out, so therefore it happened. In the way that it happened, I didn't like, but but it had to happen because of all that, all that was inside of me. I didn't have good feelings towards him. When I had good feelings towards him, it was good,
Yeah.
So
that makes sense. Yeah, that's where I was going to go with it, was the a lot of times people they will say, and we just talked about this with Courtney the other day, like, oh, you're using excuses and you're blaming everything. So
yeah,
you could blame, well, let me say instead of you, one could blame something or somebody for their actions. One could blame something or someone for their predicaments. But they, at least what I get from this, they're there because of their own decisions.
Right. And whether good or bad.
Whether good or bad, they're there, and it's not really a like a picture of who or what the person is. It is a fact that you can generate your own environment.
Yes.
And if you take it and swing the other way towards responsibility and accountability, there's a good book called Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink, who was a Navy SEAL commander. And extreme ownership is talking about taking extreme ownership for and accountability for your actions and the actions of your team if you're a leader. And that's what this talks a lot to me about, is that kind of thing there where your externals are not under my control. So I can't control necessarily what's going on around me. COVID-19 is here. I can't control it. It's itself. I can control only what I do and how I feel about it. That's one example, I guess, most currently is like I can, because for a while, every day I was going into my journal and I was writing down how many people had it and how many deaths occurred and how many, in California and New York and, checking the top states, I guess you could say. And I got to where I did it for about 2 weeks straight. And I could start to feel the internal struggle with safety and concern for, us as a family and stuff like that.
Right.
So I had to separate those external. I can't control how many people have it or die from it. I can only control what I do about it. I wash my hands, I wear my mask, I take safety precautions. And so I can't even control what my own family does 100%. All I can do is tell them what my concerns are about them doing something. But that I'm an external to them, so they have to use their own internal guidance.
Right.
So that's what that means to me there. And then when do I look for good and evil, not to uncontrollable externals, but within myself to choices which are my own. Yeah, that's the point. I like the way you put that point out there. And it reminds me of the yin yang or this other, one of my favorite paintings. You might remember seeing it when you were here. Maybe you don't, because it was a whirlwind tour for you guys.
But
if I can get the original and I have the money to do it, I'll do it. But this one is by, let's see, hold on here. It's called, let's see. Do you have a way to look at?
Is it a painting?
It's a painting, and I'm trying to get to the painting right now. This painting. Oh, yeah, here. That's why, I need a good job, because this painting is by Michelangelo. Oh, it's actually, wait a minute, a copy of the young Michelangelo. Oh, after an engraving by Mark, I don't know how to say his name, Mark Schuganager. Okay, the important part is this is called The Torment of St. Anthony.
Okay.
So if you have a way to look it up right now, look at that painting and then see if that is a good depiction of what we're talking about.
Yes, I did see this on your wall.
Yeah.
Hold on, it's loading.
Yeah, when I look at it now, one of the big things is the external forces are influencing St. Anthony there. That's what I see of it. And I can actually see, if I really look at it and I want to, I can see the yin-yang in that picture based on the way these things are moving about.
Exactly. Yeah, the way that it's around him.
Yeah, it's so weird.
This one is,
yeah, and if I look, I can see the both struggles there. Because he's obviously a man of God, and he's a saint, and they're held to high standards. But he had the demons attacking him. Now, I don't know the story of St. Anthony. He may have been a bad guy. I don't know. But
yeah, I think
just
that
from this
St. Anthony,
looking right at it, bam, that's what I get is the struggle of the common person, or even just the struggle of man against all these different demons. Just like even we talked about the other night, with the tobacco, the alcohol, these things are just...
Yeah, you can just rename all those demons: tobacco, alcohol, overeating.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I love this thing so much. And I think it goes along with this quote. To me, it does anyway. So I don't know if you think of that or...
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely, because it's a stint, like it says, it's torment. But, it's also, in a way, tormenting to know that we've done it to ourselves, So, in certain things,
I guess that's that's where the struggle is, right? To say,
yeah,
man, that's where you start getting deep. Whew, we just took the ladder down deeper.
Yeah.
Because, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I like to get deep, so. I like the deep ones.
Yeah, that's...
it
just went...
I like to look into things, yeah.
Yeah, I could feel the shift right there, like, whoa. Yeah, because it's... Yeah,
I think that's what maybe a personal hell could be possibly, too, is, everybody talks about this fire and, this lake of fire. But honestly, not being able to forgive yourself for situations that have happened in your life, to me, you're in your own personal hell right there because you chose certain things, So to me, hell is right here. Or heaven,
Oh, I do.
I think
I thought that myself. Yeah, heaven is here. That's what I started. Once I started that thought, I started to wonder about the Christian thought of what point, it doesn't make any sense to be here waiting to go to heaven. It doesn't compute anymore. Right. Because then you can tell why people are so miserable. Uh-oh.
Well, listen, let's look at it this way.
Good.
So let's look at it this way. Okay, so if this is not heaven or hell or wherever you want to say, and Christian belief is heaven's up there, hell's down there, well, wouldn't this then be purgatory? Because we're waiting to get to either one, and purgatory is explained as a waiting period until you go either way. You know what I mean? So it's like, to me, it's like you're going to make it. You're going to make it the way that you want to make it. Because some days I'm in heaven here, and then other days I'm in hell, and I think when we pass away, the energy shifts and we go somewhere else, and I think that's cool. But the way that we are told, it was just fear-based to me, and I think that's slowly
guilt and fear.
Yeah, I think that's slowly backfiring. On this,
people just aren't happy.
Because that's why a lot of we project this projection of war and everything like that. That's inside of us. I think we're projecting that out because we're being scared into certain things.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just, to me, it's just a projection of our fear.
Yeah, it's interesting, yeah. You mean the outer world, what's going on in the whole world?
The outer world, what's going on in the outer world is a projection of, the collective, fear that's going on in the world. I don't know how that would pertain to heaven or hell, but I just, mean like the
well, it could just because
the evil in the world,
Yeah, the evil in the world, if you take it out that far, if you think, well, the evil that's happening, wars, people that are dictators hurting other people, forcing others to live within a certain way or whatever. They're living out of fear. In my opinion, they live out of fear because they fear, like Donald Trump, you can see, lives out of fear. And if he wasn't here in America where we have checks and balances, he would easily take over in a new way, in my opinion. And that's what happens in a lot of places that don't have that check and balances. And luckily, the people that established the rules and the laws of America saw that could be a potential and put the mechanism in place to hopefully be strong enough to stop it, or at least hinder it enough that that it can be figured out. But the wars and all that, I think if I really think about it, it's really not. It is a projection, but it's a projection of a small few that affects many.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I've been to a lot of different places, and when you get there, it's not like the news says it is, for one thing. But some places are, but I think that
I guess that's
most
true
people
too,
can work out the ideas in their heads.
Yeah, the differences. Yeah, that's true too. As I guess the media and the television and everything. That's another vast dark energy in itself because of course it feeds us what we see, and so therefore that's what we think is going on over there. Or where wars are going on and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a crazy.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Media is one we should all talk about later, but yeah, you're on the track there.
Yeah. Yeah, that in turn, that could be the whole devil right there. They talk about this whole big devil guy that they're talking about, the media.
Yeah. Yeah,
but I am guilty of watching it, but.
Yeah, but what do you think after you watch it? If you watch a half-hour news section, what's your parting thought?
Usually my parting thought is nothing really. I just watch it. I've just mainly been watching like the news for what's going on with the coronavirus and just here and there in my life. I like to watch a lot of. Yeah, just general information. Just because I kind of feel like, other than that, I don't know. It's not in my part of the world, so I don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's so much negativity on it, that I don't really watch it. I'll watch my documentaries and stuff about good and evil, but I will not watch the news, I guess. But I don't, just because I watch a Dateline doesn't mean that I think that everybody's a murderer. You know what I mean? So I I watch it for pure, maybe not entertainment because death is awful, but just, I don't take it to heart, where I know that people do when they're watching the news every day. They're stressed out all day and they're like worrying all day.
Yeah.
So what a great
like
place
them
to
creating
be.
Their own hell.
Right, exactly. What a great place of power to be, though, is to control minds like that,
like advertising and media. An interesting thing to happen, right? I would say maybe about 6-7 months ago, I thought, what happens is I watch the news because I need to kind of know what's going on in the world with where I work, and plus I got kids in the military, different things. So I want to know kind of what's coming up in the world as far as potential for conflicts and stuff like that.
Right.
But I get caught up in it. Like, oh my gosh, this is bad news. That's bad. Everything's happening to the people. This is happening, and so then I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to have to find some positive news to counter balance this. And I went out and I found this Positive News Network.
Yeah,
it
that's
took me a
cool.
while to dig and find that. Yeah. So then when I found it, I signed up for their email newsletter. Guess how many times I read it after I signed up for it?
Maybe once or twice.
0.
Right. Yeah, it's hard.
Not
It's
a
like
time.
it made you feel good in the moment, right? Like it balanced you in the moment.
Yeah. But I'm like, well, I don't really, why would I read about good news? And there's lots of different thoughts about it. It's so weird. Yeah, because I feel like I live a basically balanced life. I sometimes very easily get sucked down into the negative. The world is blowing up. Everything is happening all at once. I very easily get sucked into that world, and my stomach hurts. Even right now, I'm in that kind of mode. Just with the buying a house and this and going on, that's going. Just so many different things are happening all at one time that I can kind of feel like I'm in that negative world in a sense. And any positive news, like, that's awesome, but it's not helping. It's not doing anything for my world.
It's interesting. Right.
Yeah. But it's so overwhelming, right? So then I think about, and maybe I'm just lucky in this fashion of, over the years I've developed this way of catching myself, being mindful of it, and then bringing out slowly but surely through, like even this morning, listening to these, have you ever heard of I am affirmations? I am a loving person. I am this. Yeah. Well, a lot of people tease that, but really what that is reprogramming my mind, because I believed and listened to all those negative things over the years, that why can't I retrain my brain to hear this and say, yes, I am this, I am that, I am that.
It's funny how people try to keep you down and say, that's so weird. Why would you do that? Well, why is it so weird? Like, you want me to, you want me to stay in a negative mind space? It's interesting.
It's that using the external to retrain the internal side of me to be positive and think that I can choose either the world sucks and I'm just a part of that suck, or the world does suck. But guess what? It has to have balance. So the world is great as well. So I can hopefully find balance. But I think we probably go way up into the good or way down into the bad, way up into the good. And like I was telling Andrew, like, to me, the one thing that came to my mind is finding balance. There's a short period of time that we find balance, that we have to savor that, and I think that's what that be in the present.
Definitely, because you can. It's a split second that you feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's also what this quote is kind of like that. Like, you're going to use some of the external, but mostly it's an internal. That internal dialogue that is going to create your version of hell or your version of heaven as you live here. And each time you think you're choosing which is the one you're going to stay in. And, you probably know people that stayed in hell, and we know people that stayed in heaven, and we know that some of us go back and forth,
up and down.
Yeah, but in a controlled sort of manner, like, I'm feeling this, so I'm going to balance it with this and come back over here. This is really good. I don't think we necessarily want to balance it with bad, but it gets balanced because I think that negative seems to be more prevalent and easier than the good. It seems that way, meaning it's easier to fall into the negative mindset than it is to be in a positive mindset. It takes work to be and stay in a positive mindset, but it takes no work to stay in a negative mindset.
It's easier to destroy than it is to build.
That's
in many ways.
And it's more fun.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather knock a building down than build one.
Right.
A tree or something, you know. I'd rather knock it down.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's that internal struggle, and when you can. The other day, I don't know if you saw the pictures. We were bouncing rocks. That's what we were doing, was like working on our balance, because the same thing is with the balancing rocks. If you think about it too much, they'll fall, and if you don't put enough work into it, they'll fall. But if you just put the rock on there and you work until you feel the balance, you let go of it, it's balanced. You really just don't have to do anything. And it's really good practice for life. Yeah. But it's very tough to do. It's hard.
I was in the garden that I made, and I balanced some rocks. And I think because they were pretty... the sizes were almost perfect, so it was pretty easy to do, you know. So, but yeah, I like
still.
And they balanced pretty quick. So maybe I am balanced at this point in my life.
or at that point.
Or at that point, yes, because I was gardening and working, you know, with Mother Earth, I guess, you know. So.
You probably still are balanced, but.
Well, I most definitely was in my own personal hell the other day, you know, like I was just, because I was sleeping too much, you know, but I had to make myself get up and, you know, so I'm learning how to be mindful of that, you know, where before I think that's where my depression came, because I wasn't able to be aware of the other side, if that makes sense, you know, to pull myself back up.
Well, yeah, that's definitely something, something that we talked about.
But that too comes with age, you know.
Yeah. Every time we talk, she talks about feelings. You know, oh, I feel this, I feel that, I feel like this shouldn't happen or that should happen. So like, feelings are great, but you have to follow it with action. You know,
right.
You feel it.
Yes, definitely.
Once you take action, it doesn't mean you take one step and now depression is gone. That means you take a step, depression feels a little better. Take another step, a little bit better. Take a step, something happens, you trip, it feels worse. Get back up and go again, you know.
Yeah, it's the getting back up over and over, because, that's true. I mean, like I would talk about it all the time. They're like, oh, this is what's upsetting me, but I would just never do anything. And, you know, maybe I think it's because certain people, not all people with depression, but they get maybe addicted to the attention. So from others, and partly, and you know, so why pull yourself out of it? Because then, you know, you won't have this attention that you're getting. And I'm not saying everybody would be like that, but just there are some people that, you know, are craving attention, but they're doing it in that negative way. And I feel like at times that's how I was in my relationships, you know. So, and I know that it's definitely a maturity thing too, you know, not always, because chemical imbalances happen, but
they do,
you know. Yeah. But it definitely takes self-awareness, you know.
Yeah, I think that's probably the key to it, is that self-awareness. Yes, I know I have this or that, but I might know that, you know, if I was to sit down and write it out, I could probably catch the symptoms of me being depressed and say, okay, I'm about to go into this. I know it's going to last for probably at least a week, where I'm going to binge eat and do these things.
Right.
So I need to make choices right now, either before it happens or so that when I come back out of it, everything can continue to move. Because I might not want to come out of it, you know. I might want to just go through it.
Well, it might be your time to go through a certain type of dark night of the soul, right? I would say, because we go through, you know, energies, of course.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the people, if you're doing it for certain reasons like that, like attention, or it's just comfortable.
It's easier sometimes to stay in that
you.
state of mind. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's still up to us as individuals to choose each moment to take a step towards feeling better, or just either, no step means I'm just going to continue to feel worse or the same. Because it doesn't take any effort to stay the same or get worse. It takes only effort to feel a little better today. 1%. I'm going to do 10 push-ups today. That's going to help me 1% today. But that means tomorrow maybe I can be 1% better, and I'll do maybe push-ups and a quick run, and then I'll feel 2% better. And then in 30 days, I'll feel 30% better.
Right.
By that choice of heaven or hell.
Right.
So you got the last words here.
Yeah.
I don't care how long you take, but you got the last words. And it can already be done if you want it to be, but you got the last words, and just tell me when you're done. I'm not talking at all. Go.
Well, I feel like we touched base on everything. There's only so many ways we can say heaven or hell or this or that or good or evil. So I just feel like this world is a balancing act.
Okay.
We can stay in one side of the rope or the other, but we should all meet in the middle.
Nice.